Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new series, a brand new Total Extreme Wrestling series, because I know you guys have enjoyed the other one so much. And I've brought along a friend. You've heard of Smackdown versus Raw. Let's do this in Total Extreme Wrestling. I will be Monday Night Raw and Stuart Irvine will be Smackdown.
Hi everyone. Obviously I'm a huge fan of Smackdown over the years. It's the only show I could ever watch when I was growing up. So any chance to really book it, I'm totally up for. So yeah.
But obviously this is not just Raw versus Smackdown. There's a twist. We've decided on a database. It'll be in the name, so you've probably realised what it is. But it's 2016. Let me set the scene. The WWE draft happens. That weekend is Battleground. And we pick up the night after Battleground. So for anyone who's unaware, who is the WWE champion, Stu?
Dean Ambrose.
And what brand is he on?
Smackdown.
Damn it. We're building off the storylines that are already in place, off the storylines that were there from Battleground, and then we're going to start putting our own twist on it. So SummerSlam, well, we'll get through it. It might be similar, it might not, but after that you will see a lot of differences from real life, I would think. How are we going to know who will be the main event of the joint branded pay-per-views, or who's going to win the Royal Rumble, for example? So I've got an idea. So obviously each show is going to be rated. We are both going to have 4 shows before SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
So let's tally them. Whoever wins week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, it could be 4-0, it could be 2-2, whatever. If it's 2-2, we'll have to flip a coin or something. But the person with the best shows going into SummerSlam gets the main event. What do you reckon?
Okay, so so what you're saying, you'll book it in a way that sort of who's booked their shows and got better reaction from. Basically,
yeah. Same with the Royal Rumble. So obviously, when we get to Royal Rumble time, you'll have an idea from SmackDown who you want to win the Royal Rumble. I'll have an idea from Raw, and closer to the time, we can decide whether we'll go off TV or pay-per-views. But there's a bit of rivalry. The show ratings are going to mean something. Is the idea. So we're going to start though, as always, as I tend to do in any Total Extreme Wrestling video, with Monday Night Raw. Remember, the night after Battleground, and we pick up with Monday Night Raw. Okay, we open up with a 57 rated segment, so it's okay. But as you can see, we open up with the bosses. Mick Foley, the GM of Monday Night Raw at the time, Stephanie McMahon, the commissioner of Monday Night Raw at the time, and they need to sort of, I don't know, set the landscape, I guess. We're coming off the back of Battleground, like we say, and Raw does not have the WWE Championship. What these two do immediately is brag about an amazing draft they had and the stars that they've got on the brand, and they sort of reel them off. They go Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor as well, Rusev. The women's division, you've got Charlotte Flair, you've got Sasha Banks, you've got Paige. And then they go into the fact that they don't have a championship. So they make an announcement that at SummerSlam, we are bringing back the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not doing the Universal title. No. I'm not doing that red crap.
The World Heavyweight Championship, it should have done it in the first place, because that's when it came in at first, it was really good. Well, it was really good. It's a really good title, and it's got history, so it helps your brand. So you don't have to build up a new title.
Exactly. That's what we're bringing back. The big gold, the WCW belt in a way. And they announced that obviously we need 2 contenders to fight for the belt at SummerSlam. So we're going to get 2 contenders. Tonight, there will be 3 matches. 3 singles matches. The winners of those singles matches next week will go on to have a triple threat match. The winner of that triple threat match is 1 contender at SummerSlam.
So at least you're not giving the title away like they did many years ago. And it's got meaning. So yeah, I like it.
Exactly. So that's 1 contender. Next week, there will be 3 singles matches. The winners of those the week afterwards will have a triple threat match, and that's your 2nd contender. Obviously, as you can see, we are building up to something at SummerSlam. We're going to be building up to a World Heavyweight Championship match for sure. That then goes into the next match, where we're going to have Rusev take on Sami Zayn in a triple threat qualifier. And that match gets us a 54. So okay. It was a little long, so they didn't like how long it was given our audience. I don't get that. That might be a setting that needs to be changed, because Raw is 3 hours long. If you can't handle a 24-minute match in 3 hours, then we are in trouble. Let me talk you through the booking. So obviously Rusev is the United States champion. He is a top heel on the brand, really. Under maybe Seth Rollins. So we've got to book him strong. Sami Zayn is a plucky babyface. And I think these two could have a good match. I think they'd have a better match than that, to be honest with you.
Definitely.
And Rusev gets the victory. Actually, Sami Zayn is sort of tapped out to the accolades. That's pretty good. Rusev, though, good performance. 63 is probably about his pop. I think his pop's about 67, so it's okay. Sami Zayn actually let us down here with a 51. We do need to turn Lana heel because apparently she's a babyface, which we suddenly can't do here, but we will get that done on a sort of superstars or main event if need be. But you can see what we're going with here. Rusev qualifies for next week's triple threat. After that, Rusev gets on the mic, and you've just seen what the what did he call himself at this time?
Was he still the Bulgarian Brute?
The Bulgarian Brute. You can see what the Bulgarian Brute can do. Sami Zayn has been left like a little boy, but the man goes on. The big Bulgarian Brute goes on. Next week, he will win the triple threat, and at SummerSlam, you are looking at a double champion.
I just had a thought of a cool name for that. Was it Double Belt Woo Woo?
After that, tag team action. The Club are in action against Golden Truth for 44. So this is okay, actually. I mean, I haven't looked at the Club's popularity, but the fact that Golden Truth have got more of a popularity than them is a problem.
Yeah, you could say that. Especially when it's like, I know back then that Golden Truth angle no one liked. So
yeah,
and obviously everyone we love the Club. So yeah, that's a weird one.
The Club going over makes sense in future booking, and obviously Gallows and Anderson were horrendously underused.
Oh yeah,
at this
100%.
particular time.
100%.
They are more than AJ Styles' henchmen, by the way, just for anyone who didn't know. But a good win for the Club. And then afterwards they get on the mic and put a challenge out there that they want the tag team champions. They want them at SummerSlam. They want the New Day versus the Club to see who the best tag team on Raw is. And of course, the New Day come out and accept. So that match is made. That match is done. First week. New Day, the Club, Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that should be a good match.
Here's a sighting for you. The current Universal Champion, the monster among men, Braun Strowman's in action, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. Oh my God. What has happened there?
Did we book that wrong? Did you book that wrong?
Oh God, yes I did. Oh God, yes I did.
Oh my word! We've had all this. You've had all this time prior to this recording to like book this.
Also, what is Bray Wyatt doing out there?
He's on my show.
As you can see, when you start a save, especially when it's an older database, there are teething issues. We will fix them. Bray Wyatt is not with Braun Strowman. He's on Smackdown. That will be fixed. So the idea here was that Braun Strowman would squash Sin Cara. The game has other ideas. So, Sin Cara has defeated Braun Strowman.
How?
Right, let's work on the fly here. So, right, Sin Cara wins, fine. But what actually happens is Braun Strowman dominates for 2 minutes. Is absolutely dominant, but gets a little bit cocky because he's new in his career, isn't he, at this point? New in his singles run. He's young. He's never really had any sort of problems in his singles career. So he's a little bit cocky. He's laughing at Sin Cara. He's enjoying hurting him. And it costs him as Sin Cara hits apparently a dragon bomb on Braun Strowman out of nowhere and gets the quick 1-2-3. Sin Cara scampers to the back. Braun Strowman is up straight away. It's not hurting because he's a monster.
Right.
But he's been beaten. That's the only thing I can say to that.
I can imagine if that happened in real life. With people reviewing that show would absolutely rip you a new one with that.
Not great. We'll move on. Anyway, we go backstage to see Cesaro cutting a... No, it's not. Oh, yeah, I'm reading my script, but there was something we added in later on, wasn't there?
Yes.
Before we go to Cesaro, there is Sasha Banks comes out, and actually correctly squashes Alicia Fox here in about 5 minutes. Not squash, they have a little bit of a match, but Sasha gets the win. She's the bigger star. A 50 rated performance from Sasha is really good. For her, that is really good. But Alicia Fox, 24.
Well, she's not exactly doing, at this point, she wasn't really doing anything really, sadly. But
no, so it makes sense. And a 31 is okay. I'm worried I'm going to lose week 1 here. I really am.
Yeah.
Then we go to Cesaro backstage, cutting a promo, hyping himself up. 56 for this. Really good stuff from Cesaro. And basically, the idea is that around this time, if you remember on the 2016 draft, it was obviously live, and Cesaro cut a promo that got himself in a bit of trouble.
Oh, I remember that promo. That was like...
basically saying that he wanted to go to Smackdown. He didn't want to be on Raw because he was fed up of dealing with GMs and commissioners. He wanted to be on Smackdown where he could wrestle. He's a babyface here as well, remember. So we go backstage to Cesaro there, and he's being asked a question by the interviewer. He says, look, the draft last week, you were quite noticeably disappointed. How do you feel tonight coming in on Monday Night Raw? And he says, yeah, I was disappointed. I wanted to be on the wrestling brand. I wanted to be on the blue brand, the wrestling brand, historically. But then I had a little bit of an epiphany. Then I saw that obviously Raw is 3 hours long. It gets a little bit more time. I am determined. I am going to make Monday Night Raw much more than just the A show, but it's going to be the wrestling show. I want to bring back professional wrestling to Monday Night Raw.
You know that if that was a promo and you had Paul Heyman, that would be a Paul Heyman written promo there. That is,
sure.
That is by far when he says, I'm going to bring professional wrestling back. That is so a Paul Heyman promo.
Yeah. Well, this is the idea. Cesaro is, as a babyface at this point in 2016, he was the internet hero, wasn't he? Let's be honest. The internet loved him. And this is what I'm going to go with, right? So the hardcore fans love him. Let's play him up to the hardcore fans. Let's say he is going to be the wrestler you want to watch week in, week out to have good matches. That makes sense? That's the idea we're going with. It's a little bit Kurt Angle-esque, I suppose. Wrestling machine type thing. I think it could work for Cesaro. So after that, he goes out and he has a matchup. I'm hoping it'll be a good match to go in with this thing. Anyway, Cesaro is in action 49, so that's pretty good against Curtis Axel. And again, Cesaro, a 59 performance. Pretty good for these pops. Yeah. Pretty good. He's backing his words up, gets a victory with a neutralizer over Curtis Axel. The wrestling machine is here on Raw to prove week in, week out why he's the best wrestler in the company.
I like that. I always like ideas of wrestlers like proving that whole angle is basically like they prove that the best wrestlers or the best performers.
It's actually a triple threat qualifier, this. So Cesaro is in the match next week. Rusev is in and Cesaro is in. But we also have to deal with next week's matchups, don't we? To deal with the second triple threat. And we announced 3 big matches right here. Okay?
Yeah.
3 big matches. First of all, they're all triple threat qualifiers. First up, it's going to be Seth Rollins in action against Big Cass. Rollins and Big Cass next week.
That could be a good match actually, because Big Cass was kind of, he was on his way up at this point. They were trying to push him as a single star briefly, so that's a good match. I would think that would be a good match.
It's a match that you think you know who's going to win, but do you know who's going to win? Are you sure?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Is the idea. Anyway, not just that, Roman Reigns will be in action. He's in a triple threat qualifier against Sheamus, 2 former world champions going one-on-one for a shot potentially at the championship.
I mean, it wouldn't be a match I'd be interested in, but I could see, it's like if you book it like that, then that's a good match as well. So
you've got to use them how you can. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And finally, the third one, Kevin Owens will be in action in a triple threat qualifying match, but he's got a bit of a difficult opponent as he takes on the ultimate underdog, Neville. Owens and Neville, triple threat qualifier next week. Reigns and Sheamus, Rollins and Cass.
That's going to be... that's a stacked show there.
So after we get that out the way, we get to see Kevin Owens in action. It's a warm-up match for him, really, ahead of next week's bigger match against Neville. And Kevin Owens defeats Darren Young in about 12 minutes. This is okay. Owens was off his game, which is annoying. 50. Kind of expect a little bit better, don't you, with Kevin Owens in the ring?
Yeah, but I think it's fine because obviously it's 50s. It's all right. It's not great, but it's like it gets the job done. So
yeah, and obviously Darren Young at the time, the night before at Battleground, had a United States Championship opportunity. I think it was Young against Rusev the night before.
Was this the one with the storyline? Because I saw it with Bob Backlund. Is this the one when he was like...
Yeah, Bob Backlund's out there.
Make Darren... Was it Darren Young great again?
Yeah. So we're using Darren Young's little bit of a push beforehand to put Owens over here.
Yeah.
After the match, Darren Young wants a handshake. He says, "Look, you beat me, fair and square. Let's have a handshake." Stu, do you think Kevin Owens will shake his hand?
Nope, he would probably either punch him or slap in the face and hit another pop-up powerbomb and just destroy him.
He's bang on, ladies and gentlemen. Ding, 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 ding. Owens gets the cheap shot. 48 for the segment. We're just really hyping up that Owens is a dick. Jericho's backstage watching on a monitor, and obviously he's standing weirdly like you do when you watch it on a show. But anyway, he's watching and he's sort of nodding a bit of approval. Now, obviously, Owens and Jericho had a great partnership in real life later on.
Yeah.
Like at the end of 2016, 2017. That was brilliant.
He's best run properly in the company for a very long time.
But at this point, they're not partners.
No.
They become partners at SummerSlam in real life, but at this point, they're not partners. But Jericho just showing a little bit of appreciation for Kevin Owens. That makes sense?
Yeah, I could totally see that totally makes sense in my eyes.
Well, next up we have a big angle with the women's division, which gets us a 34. Okay. Charlotte doesn't have the microphone skills to be talking for 10 minutes or so. Charlotte doesn't have the microphone skills. Bullshit, honestly. That's crap. We've got the whole women's division out there, right? And Charlotte as your women's champion with Dana Brooke by her side. We have a throne in the ring, and Charlotte sits on the throne and is being coronated as the Queen of Monday Night Raw. And it's basically one of these segments where you have the whole women's division surrounding the ring, and Charlotte's having arrogance promos talking about the fact that she's the one that stepped up, and the rest of the women's division have done nothing. But now the draft has happened and now they've been split up, so we need people to step up. We need Alicia Fox to step up. We need Nia Jax to come up from NXT and step up. Paige, what have you done since 2014? Nothing. We need you to step up. And Sasha, well, the thing is, Sasha, you've done all right. You were part of that great match at WrestleMania that I was fantastic in. But you haven't really done much else, have you? So you need to step up. Do you know what I mean? It's this idea that Charlotte's just gone crazy.
So what is it? So it's sort of like what she's saying is true, but because of her ego and arrogance, kind of like you want to hate it because it's like, yeah, you're right, but who are you to say this? So
she then says, what I want to do, though, is to give you guys a little bit of a morale boost. And as you can see, as the Queen of Monday Night Raw, the only thing I can do is honour you. Is honour you all. A knighthood, so to speak. So she gets Dana Brooke, and Dana Brooke gets down on her knees and gets knighted by Queen Charlotte. Yeah?
Okay, so you're literally going on the angle that she's literally like coronating herself as the Queen. Literally, like a crown.
Go in it. Well, let's go all in. She's got a tiara on the lot. Alicia Fox comes in and gets knighted. Paige comes in and reluctantly, but gets knighted. And then it's Sasha Banks' turn, right? We'll say Nia Jax doesn't go in because we want to keep her mysterious. Then it's Sasha Banks' turn, and Sasha enters the ring and doesn't get down on her knees. And Charlotte's getting madder and madder and demanding that the peasant bow down to the Queen.
Yeah.
Anybody who's watched Sasha Banks, particularly this face run in 2016, knows that will not go down well. So Sasha Banks nails her with a punch. Just one stiff punch. Knocks Charlotte back off the throne. The throne falls back. Dana Brooke comes in to try and help her sort of mentor, I guess. They had a thing going on. And Sasha picks her up on her shoulders and drops her sort of a go to sleep with the knee.
Interesting. A go to sleep.
Because she does a lot of stuff with her knees, Sasha Banks. So I think that could work. And then she locks in the bank statement. Dana Brooks tapping. Charlotte's escaped up the ramp because she wants nothing to do with it. But Sasha Banks has ruined the coronation of the women's division.
And I'm assuming it'd just be a situation of Charlotte like saying, "I'll get you" or something, or "How dare you?" And on top of that, shouting,
"How dare you? Yeah. How dare you?" That's what she's going with. She feels offended, and it's building up, as you guys would expect, to Charlotte versus Sasha at SummerSlam. It's the only real women's division match I've got. Like, I remember 2016 thinking, God, they keep doing this match over and over and over again. But if you look at the division, they don't really have any other options. Anyway, we'll move on to another tag team matchup. Now, heels, Dudley Boys, are going to take on Enzo and Cass. Actually, I say about the tag division, that's two tag teams that are quite good for the tag division right now. Yeah. So I'm pretty pleased with that. The Dudley Boys taking on Enzo and Cass. Cass, of course, trying to get momentum ahead of taking on Seth Rollins next week.
Of course.
Just throwing that. That's what the announcers will be pushing, won't they? And the Dudley Boys go over Enzo and Cass. So 48 is okay. Again, it says the match was a little too long. I think that's crap, to be honest. Bubba Ray Dudley pins Enzo Amore, but the main talking point of this storyline here is the fact that Seth Rollins runs down and hits the stomp on Cass behind the referee's back on the floor.
Storyline-wise, that makes sense. That was the
storyline.
So it's like the defeat doesn't hurt anyone.
No, and Seth is sort of softening up Cass ahead of next week. It leaves Enzo alone in the ring, and of course the Dudley Boys as tag team perfectionists, the legendary tag team that they are, take advantage of it. 3D, Bubba Ray gets the victory over Enzo Amore. Ignore the ropes for leverage. That wouldn't be right.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
That's the idea. A good win though for the Dudleys,
yeah,
which is another heel tag team setting up. Maybe
yeah, I mean,
could go up against the New Day.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the Dudleys, you've got one of the best, so you could do anything with them, really.
Backstage, Roman Reigns cuts a promo on Sheamus ahead of next week's Triple Threat qualifier, sort of saying that, Sheamus, you've been a thorn in my side for a long time, but don't think I've forgotten last year when you cashed in Money in the Bank on me and ruined my moment. So next week, I'm going to ruin your moment. 69, ahead of the main event then, the final Triple Threat qualifying match, and the debut on Raw of Finn Balor. It's Balor versus Chris Jericho. Now, I am worried about this because I didn't see the idea of matches going a bit longer being a problem. So I gave this a lot of time. 28 minutes it's going to get. What do you reckon? What's your prediction? Do you reckon it's in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, or the 70s?
Obviously, if I was watching it, if we won this match, I'd be watching it going, Finn must win, Finn must win, Finn must win. And if it, I mean, I would say probably 70, maybe like a 68, maybe.
Okay, let's give it a go. I'm thinking it's going to be 50s because they're going to really kill me on the time. Balor and Jericho, main event.
42. The match.
See, this is the problem. So we are going to have a look in the settings because there's something wrong here. Do you know what I mean? There is something wrong.
Was it about to be a decent reaction, but the crowd, from the crowd, but terrible wrestling? Do you really think Finn Balor versus Chris Jericho would be a terrible wrestling? I do not agree with that. That is utter rubbish.
As you can see, Finn Balor qualifies for the match, defeating Chris Jericho. So Jericho will be furious. Jericho is furious at that, by the way. Just saying, he is furious. I have to deal with that. But he would be, in character-wise, furious for the fact that he's been upstaged by this upstart on Raw, Finn Balor. And Balor, looking fantastic, gets a victory over former world champion and qualifies for the match next week, which is now confirmed. Triple threat with a SummerSlam spot on the line. It'll be Rusev, Cesaro, and Finn Balor.
Oh, I did.
Right, the show rating 45. Oh,
It's not the. I got to be honest. That's not the greatest when you want your first Raw of a new era. It's not the greatest. But I mean, I guess in looking at it, it's like that Braun Strowman defeat didn't help.
This is what we've got to battle. So 45. That's what you've got to beat. 45. Do you reckon you can beat it?
Yeah, I think so. I've got a decent show. I think. Obviously, I've got less time to play around with. So, yeah.
So let's find out, shall we? We'll move straight on. Smackdown Live. Smackdown Live, the first one of a new era. A lot of pressure, Stu. Let's do it. Right then, Smackdown. It's Stu's show, so he will take the narration, is the best way to say it. Stu has got an interesting show planned. He's going to talk us through it. Stu, over to you. First
Smackdown of a new era. So obviously, similar to what you did, I had an angle, or like a sort of promo in the ring. That's not bad. Yeah, basically the whole argument is basically like Dean Ambrose coming out, honoured to be champion, I'm going to be a fighting champion, all that kind of stuff. And sort of like said, anyone that doubts me is now, look at me now, I'm now WWE champion. He holds up the title, obviously just proving to everyone that he's the champ, and then Randy Orton comes out. Prior to this, obviously in this game, I think he's put down as a face.
He's a face at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, so but in my indication, he's possibly a heel because Randy Orton's better as a heel. Sort of says, you don't deserve to be champion. You're sort of like, you're a coward in the way you cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. You were lucky against to defend your title at Battleground. This is kind of a new era of SmackDown, and we need a great champion. And we don't need a fluky champion that can last 10 seconds with me. And then that builds in for John Cena to come out. And then John Cena comes out saying, you could be a great champion, but the word in that is great, you could be. He goes up to him and says the old saying, to be the man, you must beat the man. He's not going to be around forever, so he wants to make sure that whoever is champion is a great champion. What I'm trying to go here is that, was it step up or get stepping? And then obviously he's the same thing, sort of saying, you should choose me as challenger. And then you've got AJ comes out and sort of says, you got to be kidding me. These two has-beens, why would you need a fresh face on SmackDown? You should choose me. I could make SmackDown phenomenal. Out of nowhere, Dolph comes out as well. He's fed up of being overlooked. He's been busting his ass for so many years. And as you said before, it's a new era. So I think this is a land of opportunity, and he thinks he should get the shot. Danny Bryan comes out. He's seen enough. Opportunities are not given, they're earned. So he basically sets up a group of matches. Randy Orton will against Dolph Ziggler. John Cena will against AJ, and the winners of them two matches will go against each other next week, and then whoever wins that match goes against Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam, and that's the whole segment.
The top contenders on the blue brand are coming out to stake their claim.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much like the whole like sort of building around. It's just like new era. It's like a land opportunity, and sort of like example like John Cena's trying to big it up. Randy Orton's trying to be Randy Orton. AJ and obviously Dolph are sort of like, in this case, are the newcomers. The whole segment's are basically supposed to big up that all these big names are trying to challenge Dean. The next match, obviously, was American Alpha versus Breezango. American Alpha kind of new in this case. They're like sort of the new tag team up from NXT. This match was supposed to be sort of like big them up, sort of show how good they are.
It's not bad if you look at the performances. So like Jason Jordan, 34, pretty good. Chad Gable was off his game, so 29. You're probably looking at higher from Gable. Gable's let you down a little bit there. 32 is okay. You got to remember the popularities of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it was the idea of putting over American Alpha really. So I think that's done that. This match is supposed to be like, so it's great Clash of Styles type thing, where it just makes an American Alpha look great, and sort of gives them a platform to show what this team can do on its first night on SmackDown. I don't think we put this next segment, but I'll say it anyway and see what happens. They win the match, and then obviously they're celebrating. And then obviously on the top of the ramp, you've got the Usos just coming out of nowhere and just sort of clapping, sort of looking impressed. Becky Lynch, obviously this is before she was the man. She was the Irish last kicker at this point. Again, proved dominance that Becky's just like, she's the main sort of woman in this division in SmackDown. And Carmella is sort of like, she's just come up, so it's more to like put her on the spotlight and give her that kind of exposure. For me, it was more of a simple match that kind of, I wanted to build it up as sort of like Becky wins, but because of Carmella's inexperience, sort of Becky takes advantage of it and makes a tap, and she gets the win.
Makes a lot of sense, and actually not bad for 30, really, considering Carmella's low popularity. 15 performance from her. Becky, 40, really carries it as well. So actually, it's kind of worked pretty well.
put over like new stars so people can get exposure really, because obviously they're new. So
Becky being the alpha of the division as well.
Yeah, because obviously she is. So
she is. Love that.
Dean's obviously getting interviewed by obviously I don't think they were married at this point, but yeah, his wife. Sort of asking the simple, questions like who out of the four, who do you think's going to win? Who would you rather face? And sort of Dean Ambrose is kind of like saying, the usual face things, like they're all great competitors. It would be tough whoever I face, but he's not concerned because at the end of the day, he's still champion, and no one's going to take that title for him. He's worked too damn hard for someone to just take that title off him so soon. But Stereo comes in, interrupts him. You're not even mentioning me. I'm a former world champion. Why am I not even considered in this challenging for your title? To show total disrespect, slaps him in the face. And that kind of starts a mini brawl, like them fighting, and sort of had to split them up. And kind of, for me, that kind of sets up for, obviously, if I can do this, it sets up next week's match where, Dean Ambrose will go against Alberto Del Rio. So it sort of sets up for next week, really.
Big match then next week. The WWE champion in action, Dean Ambrose, taking on a former world champion, a former Money in the Bank winner, a former Royal Rumble winner, Alberto Del Rio.
This was the first of two, kind of like, I would say qualified matches, but sort of like similar to your sort of triple threat thing. Obviously, first up we have Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler. This whole point was, again, to put over Ziggler. The way they booked him in real life was good. And sort of this match was supposed to be this kind of like sort of, great psychological match, sort of like great to watch. Randy goes to the RKO, and then sort of Ziggler counters it, tries to go for a roll up, but then obviously Randy Orton's holding onto the ropes, turns around, walks into a super kick, and then that super kick sort of like sets up for the zigzag, as obviously hits the zigzag out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3, gets the win. And yeah, Dolph Ziggler advances to the number one contender match for next week.
The match itself, I think you've kind of been shortchanged a little bit. Orton a performance of 78, Dolph a performance of 68. You're booking Orton as a heel right now, and we need to change it in game because he is a babyface, and I think you've been a little bit penalised for that, I guess. But I feel like that could have been better. That segment. I feel like the game's been harsh. Orton and Ziggler have always had good matches in the past. There's no difference here. After that, is it another match or is it an angle? I think it's another match.
Another match because again I'm pushing the whole important. It's a wrestling show. This whole point of this kind of match was kind of unfortunately it's basically the way I was going to book it. It's kind of similar to the way you kind of say face was your Braun Strowman.
Right. Got ya. So Kalisto gets like an underdog victory here.
Yeah, because obviously I got plans for Kalisto and Eric Rowan and stuff like that. At the moment he's by himself. The match wasn't supposed to be great, to be fair. Right. It was supposed to set up sort of like this thing that sort of Eric Rowan can't be by himself. The whole match is basically him like, he's getting cocky. You should have put him away earlier. Made a mistake, and obviously in this one I put a roll up, but in this case Salido del Sol got the win. Obviously, it's not going to be a great rating, but for what I'm aiming for Eric Rowan, I'm happy with that. So next to set us another backstage segment. Obviously, it's this one we got sort of like in the dressing room after, because obviously Ziggler's been back there. He's celebrating after getting a big win against Randy Orton clean. And you got Danny Bryan's there, sort of congratulating him, sort of saying, congratulate him, just wish him luck for next week, because obviously it's. For Danny Bryan, it's kind of like it typifies everything he wants this brand to be, because obviously sort of like underdog sort of kind of style works for Danny Bryan. And then obviously The Miz comes in to confront both Ziggler and Danny Bryan. It's kind of the same, similar to what Alberto Del Rio sort of kind of said, like, why am I not involved in this tournament? I'm not even on the show. I'm the most must-see IC champion in history. And you're giving this my spot to as he says, a washed-up loser and a Shawn Michael wannabe. Why are you giving it to Dolph Ziggler? He hasn't been relevant for years. This has a thing where it's stare down between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Danny Bryan breaks it up. The Miz kind of goes like, I don't need this right now, but good luck, because you're going to need it, and it walks off. I think it kind of works for The Miz, because The Miz character is kind of like, do you know who I am? Like arrogance.
So The Miz is a bit put out that he's not on the show as the IC champion and the face of the brand in his own eyes, especially as you've got Dolph Ziggler, someone he doesn't see as level with him, so he's a bit jealous despite being champion.
Yeah, but the opportunity kind of thing, because it's like he is the IC champion, but it's like he's not treated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not treating him well on the show. I get it. That's what. I mean, that works. I like that. Up next is your main event. Oh.
That's not great. It was decent enough. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, not every match has to be world class or like 5-star, does it? If in real life, this would be like a sort of 5-star match because you just let it go all out for it. Obviously, I wanted they got to put AJ over. I mean, John Cena could win, but I don't. I think AJ, again, it's this whole segment, the whole show is like building new stars, also like building up new faces as like top guys. What more to get you over than beating probably like, John Cena?
The face that runs the place.
Exactly. Like what more over can you get? Like anyone give you a rub, it's him. So that's what I was kind of planning. Cena goes to the AA. But then obviously AJ counters it, sets up for the Stars Clash, and then just basically hits that. Gets the 1, 2, 3. As you expect with these two, it'd just be a great match. I mean, yeah, I wish that was better. I
like the booking of it. I mean, it's a hell of a show in terms of on paper. You got Orton, Ziggler, Styles and Cena, American Alpha and Breezango. Some great wrestling on that show in theory. It hasn't backed you up the game, really.
No.
Weird. You've got one more segment, though. You want to talk us through it?
Yeah, so basically the whole segment is that at the end of it, that's pretty decent. I'm happy with that as well. Basically, the whole situation is that obviously Dolph Ziggler comes out, confronts AJ because now them two are facing off next week for the number one contendership for the WWE Championship. So it's kind of like more trash talking, sort of like who's you and so I'm going to beat you, all that kind of stuff. And sort of then the last shot of the show would be you cut into like backstage with the Miz watching the TV or watching it on the monitor, kind of looking really pissed off and annoyed. And like looking like kind of envious, jealous kind of thing. Kind of building that kind of the Miz is jealous, and just kind of sets up for what may happen next week in the main event.
So what's your show rating? What do you reckon? Reckon you beat me?
I think so. I think it was quite decent. I think it was decent rating. I think it was a good show.
Okay, let's have a look. Whoa!
How? That's cruel, man.
Whoa!
That's harsh, man. I don't get that. I mean,
so there's a couple of things. I think. Obviously, there's nothing that low on there, but what you've been penalised on is, one, there's not enough interesting storylines going on. That's normal. I had that. That's fine. Two, because what we've done in between Raw and SmackDown is change the product to ruthless aggression to see if that suits us a little bit better. And because you didn't have a wild brawl, hardcore mayhem or car crash type match, they brought you down on that. The crowd were upset that there wasn't enough interviews or angles.
But obviously, for what I was saying, obviously I was trying to build up a totally wrestling-based show.
Yeah. So we're going to have a look at the product again. We're going to have to try and make it fix. I want to do a wrestling-based show as well, to be fair. So maybe we need to change it a little bit.
Yeah.
If any of you guys know out there, let us know in the comments what you think the best product will be. It may not be quite sports entertainment-y. We may have to change it to suit us. But if that's what we do, that's what we do. Hope you guys will be fine with that. 25 though. So what does that mean, Stu? That means if we get the scoreboard up, ding, 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 it's Raw 1, SmackDown 0.
But you know for a fact that my show was better. This game says one thing, but I know for a fact my show. I thought my show was better. So
well, that's it, then, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the episode, 1-0 Raw. He's been beaten. Next week on the shows, there is some massive, massive matches. So you've got Reigns in action, Rollins in action, Owens in action, Neville in action, Dean Ambrose in action, and AJ Styles, Dolph Ziggler in the main event of SmackDown. Do not miss it, because when's it coming? 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks today, you'll have the second episode of this. Don't miss the Football Manager Network save next week. But 2 weeks' time, you'll have the second episode of this. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of it. Stu, have you got any sort of parting words as the loser?
Well, one, the game, I've literally been much more screw jobbed when it comes to comes to this game. But no, I'm confident. The game may not be on my side, but I think I think the stories I'm making up in this SmackDown are going to be quite good. So, I'm
going to start making plans for who I want to win the Royal Rumble, because obviously the Raw is obviously going to win this by the looks of it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Until next time, from me and Stu, make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, peace.
Bye.